What's up, folks? It's Dr. Remy LeBeau here, coming at you once again from the Xler. I'm a little bit disoriented because I just watched the... wow. I can't believe I actually just watched the first episode of the new Twin Peaks revival series, written and directed by David Lynch. David fucking Lynch, who is a master of the craft of filmmaking, who hasn't made a film in a very long time, and who, had this concept, right? This Twin Peaks concept that probably in his mind was supposed to keep going beyond the second season, in which it was canceled. And so he's been just kind of harboring these thoughts and for all these years of what could be the next chapter to the story. And then finally he got a chance to do it. Showtime gave him money and he did it, and now it exists, and I just watched it. And the first episode was an hour and 51 minutes. Fucking David Lynch, man. This guy. He just does whatever the fuck he wants. He just does whatever the fuck he wants. If they let him, he'll do it. Obviously, if they don't, he won't do it at all. Alright, so a little bit of history here. David Lynch, the first film he made was called Eraserhead, and he made it with his buddies, and it took him a few years. They would shoot a scene here, a scene there, and it would take forever. And then finally they put it together, and I don't know, it might have done well in maybe the festivals, and then that kind of got him out there. And then beyond that he did Blue Velvet, a few others. Mulholland Drive, I think, is the last one he made. All of them are fucking weird. They got progressively more fucking weird. One of them was Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, which was... Okay, so Twin Peaks, right? Twin Peaks... I guess it was 25 years ago now or something. I was in high school. I was in junior high when the fad hit. It was Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks started airing, and the whole thing was Laura Palmer, this girl, had been killed. And the whole first season was the mystery of who killed Laura Palmer. With obviously the background of all these weird characters and this kind of eerie kind of toned show that was created by David Lynch. I don't remember. I think he might have directed a first episode or maybe a few of them. I don't exactly know. I didn't actually watch it when it first aired. I watched it a few years later. A buddy of mine was a big fan. He had me sit down and watch the whole thing, and I watched it. I liked it. I watched all of season 1, and then they did a season 2. I forget if they actually got to finish season 2. I think it might have been canceled and they didn't get to finish it. But then there was a film. It was called Fire Walk With Me, which was sort of meant to give us a resolution to the Laura Palmer storyline, but it wound up being so fucking weird. It was just straight up David Lynch fucking weirdness. And that's just his thing. That's what he does. But he does it so fucking well. He's the master of the fucking weird. The absurd. Just throwing random things together. And it may be meaning something and maybe not. And it's all about kind of fucking with the audience. And it's just an interesting way to express oneself, through one's art, and that's his style when it comes to filmmaking. Yeah, so nothing was really resolved. I remember watching that movie. I was just fucking freaked out by it because it was so fucking freaky. Anyway, so now here I am. I just watched this first episode of the revival thing. I haven't watched the show in probably at least over 10 years. I haven't. Probably longer than that, maybe 15 to 20. I'm dating myself, but yeah, it's been a while since I watched any of this, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go on blind and watch this because I'm sure he wouldn't make it to. He wouldn't make it so that you had to have watched everything to enjoy it. This is him making a film. I believe it's gonna be 20 episodes or 20 hours worth. I think. So he's making a 20-hour movie, essentially. And he gets to play. He gets to really play and just do whatever he wants to do. And there was even a time, so So this show has been in production for a while, and like people have been, you know, trying to get as much information out of this production as possible, but there hasn't been a lot of information, but there was this period of time, maybe about 6 or 7 months ago, when it was reported that David Lynch was leaving the show, and that he wasn't going to do the show, and like, I'm sure it was because like at some point somebody at Showtime was like, we can't let this motherfucker do whatever the hell he wants, because what he wants to do is fucking crazy. And so he threatened to leave, and then I think there was enough of a backlash by the public, by the fandom, that he got his way. I think that was just the whole point, like for him to go public, so that it would put pressure on the people with the money to let him do whatever the fuck he wants. And I think that it worked. Because I just watched pure David fucking Lynch goodness. I don't know if it was good. I don't know if it was bad. And really, there's no way to really assess it. And as far as like the connections to the old shows, I kind of got most of it, but maybe not all of it. But it doesn't matter, because it was such a fucking well executed piece of filmmaking. Like all the eerie shit, like I was trying to figure out like, why is his shit so fucking eerie? And it's just, he's so good at like at fucking with your head, like fucking with expectations, fucking with like tropes of, you know, just general life, like things that you just would normally expect. Like he just like fucks with it, and it totally fucks with your head, and like as soon as he fucks with your head, then he makes it all fucking dark and weird, and shit fucking is it's unclear what the fuck might be happening, and your fucked up mind that has been played upon by his like absurd fucking images and fucking sequences and shit is all fucking fucked up. So like when he shows like the dark eerie shit, like there's a lot of shots of there was a few shots of like a flashlight in the forest, and all you see is like the fucking trees, the kind of perspective you would see if you were camping. You know, and like if your mind's already fucked up because like you're trying to process something that's not processable, and then you see these eerie images, it just makes it all even more eerie. Like it just resonates so much more as like eerie. He's a master of that, man, and I'm glad he is. Like anyway, overall this show is fucking great. Like it really had that like 80s movie, like kind of horror flavor, like 70s 80s kind of horror flavor, but not feeling like it was copying things. It was just like very organic. A lot of it was really fucking weird. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I suggest you watch it. This is gonna be a very long. Well, I suggest you watch it if you are a fan of like kind of weird fucking filmmaking, weird fucking shit that's not necessarily going to be linear. And is going to kind of maybe not even come to any kind of clear resolution, like, but you just like the weird sort of experience of like kind of these trippy sort of narrative excursions. It's hard to, it's not, you can't just call it like a story, because it's not a story. There's a story there, and it's clear what the story is, but it's really about the fucking fucked up experience of like going into David Lynch's world, which is essentially us going into his fucked up mind. And I think this show did an exceptional job of doing that, and I look forward to more of it, you know? I look forward to more of it. In fact, at some point when I get some time, I'm going to go back, I'm going to watch the entire show again, because it deserves it, you know? It does deserve it. This is really fucking great. And the thing I was thinking about the entire time I was watching it was like the hardcore Twin Peaks fans, like the people that have been watching this show since it fucking aired over and over and over again. Like, what a fucking treat this must be for you. What a fucking treat this must be for you. Like, who is not only seeped in the lore of Twin Peaks, but also just like you appreciate it so much for what it is, because this definitely gave you that. Exactly what Twin Peaks is, this gave it to you. And you should be very happy. Anyway, I'm very happy. People should check this out. I think people should check this out. It's worth checking out. Get ready to be fucked with, though. That's what David Lynch does. And as long as you acknowledge that that's what he does, and you're willing to just go with it, then it's a good time. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Take care, folks. If you haven't already, subscribe over here and put an X in that box. Ain't nobody checking me. Bye-bye.